Today, let's paint a trillium flower, a white flower, and learn how to paint white flowers with watercolor. Hi friends, I'm Olga Koelsch, watercolor artist, teacher, and a book author. Welcome to my studio. First of all, let's find the middle of the flower and, so to say, the borders for the flower. I imagine it will grow like this. Trillium has 3 petals. Usually, very typically, they are white. And how to paint white on white paper with watercolor. Let's explore the opportunities. So here will be the middle of the flower. Now let's prepare our mix. We can't really paint white on white. Therefore, we need to create nice light mix. And for that purpose, I will mix ultramarine blue with a complementary color to ultramarine blue. It's orange, permanent orange. And then let's test it on a piece of paper. This will be nice grayish mix. I like that ultramarine blue creates these graded texture. Now let's paint. I use my smaller brush, finer brush. And firstly, I will find the most darker place in this white flower. It will be middle veins. So I will start painting white flower with middle veins. So I apply a little bit pressure on my brush and release the pressure. One middle vein, another middle vein, and one more finer line on the other side. And same on the petals, on the side petals, middle vein, one more, and let's do it on the other petal, one, another one, and another one. Now I can go around with the tip of the brush and create nice, beautiful, curvy edge for my flower. Once I did one side, I wash my brush, I dry it with a paper towel, and with the tip of the brush, I go around and soften the inner side of the petal. And same for the other side. I start with the very tip of the brush. It's very delicate area here. I can wiggle a little bit my brush to create interesting edge, not just round. Some curvy edge like this, and then I wash my brush, dry it a little bit with a paper towel, and with the tip of my brush I soften this outline. You can even add a little bit of water on the whole area of the flower. And while my petal is still wet, I can easily add a drop of yellow gamboge hue I have for the middle, because the middle part has yellow pollens, yellow stamens around, and I will make it in advance. I prepare the area in advance. That also means I can drag out a little bit of yellow into the body of the petal. Now let's paint these two in a little bit different way. So I firstly glaze the area of the petal with just clean water. And then I use my grayish mix. With the tip of the brush, I go around the petals and create nice edge. I want to add a little bit more of orange to make it warmer, like this. So these are two different ways to create, so to say, smooth outline. You can use both of them, which you prefer. Then I can slightly correct it with clean and damp brush. Let's repeat it on the other side, glazing with the brush, glazing with the brush, and then apply the mix. I did not prepare enough of the mix, that was a bit of a mistake. So let's go around. In the more shady areas, like in the middle of the flower, you can apply a little bit bigger amount of our grayish mix. And the more you go to the tops, to the tips of the petal, the more delicate you can use, the more delicate lines you can create. And again, right here, there will be a shady part, and we need to create some shades to lift up the front petal, like this. You can, if you like, you can go with damp brush around and soften the edges. Something about this. While your paper is still wet, you can keep adding paints if necessary to add more shades. And if you would like to lift them, dry a brush with a paper towel and remove. Right here I would like to lift up the colors with my clean and damp brush to create the contrast, because this petal is on top of that one. It should be lighter, it should be clearly lighter than the other one. Now you can also have a look around. Maybe while the paper is still wet, we can add a little bit more of waves, curves into the petals. You just apply our initial grayish, light grayish mix into the area of where it can be. Then wash your brush, dry it with a paper towel, and soften it a little bit. Now we have our white flower, which is very pretty, but to lift it even more up, we can place it on the background. And background, of course, will be green leaves, very typical for trillium. I use Viridian green, but I don't like how it looks just like this. I will mix it with raw sienna and a little bit more dark. So I will use just the same ultramarine blue. Yes, that's something right. That's something that feels right. I will prepare watery mix for the start. Trilliums, they have 3 small little green leaves looking around and 3 very large green leaves. I will take my bigger brush number 12, brush number 12, and just with very big, brave brush strokes, I will set up the bigger leaves. I just find nice shape for them. And I want to have some white areas around. The more I go outside, from the flower, the lighter I would like to have my mix. Therefore, I lift up a little bit of paints, and I can add a couple of bolder green at the edge, where at the place where leaf overlaps, where the petal, there the bloom is. Like this, I just let it all flow. Another leaf will be somewhere around here, curvy leaf line, then let it just disappear in the edge of your painting or on the edge of your paper. I can feel that this A5 size is a little bit too small for me. I used for more spontaneous, more freehand painting, but that's fine. Let's add even darker shades right here. If I have bolder mix, dry mix on my brush, I can add details like veins right in these wet areas. And trillium leaves, they have some parallelly arranged veins like that. You can also add a bit of contrast around. Let's find a nice place for the top one. The upper petal, always try to imagine where it will grow, how it will grow underneath the flower, where it will all be connected. So like this, and then maybe a little bit like that. And then you just fill in the area. If you want to learn more watercolor tricks, if you want to boost your watercolor skills, I invite you to join my in-depth watercolor courses, and you will find link to that in the lesson description. Contrast right here, veins. To lift up a little bit, you can wash your brush, dry it with a paper towel, and go in between veins area and remove a little bit of darker space. But I like how it looks now. While it dries, I will paint stamens just with yellow gumbosh hue. With the tip of the brush, I paint stamens, arrange them, imagine how they look, add the tips. Not super detailed, but trying to follow the general. It's very tempting to add just a couple of drops of yellow while the paper is still wet. I think it will bring a little bit of sunshine, touch of sunshine. It's a spring flower. Let's add these small leaves just with brush strokes. I load my brush with green raw sienna mix, and I can start to paint from the top like this. Start with the tip of the brush, apply pressure on the brush, and then bring your brush to the bloom and release the pressure and correct with the tip of the brush. You can correct the shape of the bloom at the same time. If it is too much water, remove water with a paper towel and remove puddles. Also middle vein with the tip of the brush. Now let's do the other one. Place it right on the top. Painting in layers will make it feels like it's a lot of sunshine. The leaves are super fragile, so therefore I just paint them bravely on the top. And now let's paint one more, sliding around the edge of the petal, and then I just release the pressure and can correct a little bit that shape with the tip of the brush. Last thing I would like to do is to add some boldness. I will add a little bit of burnt sienna into the mix, and I add even more darker drops around the area, and also I can correct slightly the edge of the petal in this way if necessary, if you maybe don't, if you think you can do some improvements, paint nice more curvy edge, for example, of the petal, it's a good time to do that. Then I soften a little bit the edge like this. Actually, I don't like this white drop here. I will cover it. So now we have our white flower placed in the surroundings of green leaves that lifts it a lot. And if you like, you can even go more and add some green background, just wet in wet style. But I think it's it feels like enough for, and our trillium is ready. Thank you so much for painting with me. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. I hope you had a great time. Looking forward for your feedback. What would you like to paint next? And not necessarily flowers. See you soon. Bye bye.